Greetings. We are here at True Love Movement Tuesdays. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
True Love Movement Tuesday.
Let's go now.
Y'all hear Mama Fire? She said, let's do it now, family. Not later.
Right now.
Not later, but now. Let me see what's happening here. If I can see what you see. Make sure the sound is cut down. You know, it'll come on with the echo. Oh, look who we got right out the gate. Cousin Amina.
Hey, sister.
Hey, what's happening? I see Tracy Elizabeth in the place.
All right.
We got some more folks that are there. I can't see them. But they see us, and that's what the point is. So we give thanks for them.
We give thanks.
You gonna sing it, okay?
I'm trying to stay awake.
You know what? What's going on, family? I know my thing ain't all the way ready. I'll wait till right into it. I saw it right there. I was like, yeah, I could be taking the notes.
Yeah, sure. We got notes to take.
So what's going on, family? We're going to wait for just a few more minutes for a couple of folks to come on in. We thank y'all for joining us on this True Love Movement Tuesday. On the video set, you got Brothers for Me, Tracy Elizabeth. All right. Well, cool. Look forward to hearing about that. That sounds like an adventure.
And Brother Shaq, listen, Brother Shaq is putting in work with these brothers.
Yeah.
Getting them ready for the sisters who are also getting ready.
That's right. That's right, man. I'm so proud of these brothers too. I mean, you know, a lot of the things that we do, you don't see that on Front Street because it's very private and it's intimate. But just know that the brothers are working very, very hard, improving themselves and what have you. So something to look forward to, sisters, and really for the whole community.
Yeah, for the children, for everyone.
Everybody.
It makes a difference, you know, and no one is doing this work. No one. I know it's true that, you know, Brother Shaq is a dynamic life coach and helps these brothers see something about themselves that they've never even thought about.
That's right.
You know, this is well-needed work for black men in New Orleans and beyond New Orleans, all over globally. You know, understand. I don't know why it's doing it.
Well, if he's doing that, we right here, family. We just making sure we got the technical aspect together. You know, it take us a minute or two.
And so the brothers, we are ushering them in to see Brother Shaq. You know, and the thing about it is, you have to be ready. You know, you got to be ready. It's like you got to be seeking something.
That's right.
And sometimes sisters be like, "Ooh, I want my husband to see Brother Shaq." It's like, you can't make nobody do that.
Right. Yeah, brother.
You can't make the appointment for him. You can't do that. When a man is ready, he's gonna make the moves and the shakes on it, right?
That's right. Shout out to Natasha Wilson. We see our sister Christina Hall. She was there.
Good evening.
Decca Randolph. What's happening?
Hey, Natasha.
We got some folks joining us. So we won't wait too long, family. We're going to start it off and we're going to be on time. We will invite you to share this with people who you know and respect and you think would enjoy the show. This is True Love Movement Tuesdays. And we want to thank everybody who joined us on Saturday for the True Love Movement Hour. We were very transparent then and we'll say it now. We don't know if that True Love Movement Hour was our final show. I guess we'll find out.
Well, on WBOK.
On WBOK,
yeah.
Right. That's right. Because the True Love Movement Hour is ours.
Is alive and well, baby.
It's alive and well, and it could show up here. It could show up on another radio station. We got some other folks who are interested
yes.
in potentially doing that. We don't know what the new ownership of WBOK is going to do, and we're not going to put the fate of what happens with the True Love Movement Hour obviously in their hands. You all have been too good to us for too many years for that to happen. So one way or another, we'll keep going. And so on tonight, True Love Movement Tuesdays, we took a break last week, and so we're back for a good show. It doesn't really have a topic. Well, it doesn't really have a title, but it does have a topic. But there's several things that have been interesting with our people. Shout out, we got Ann Collins.
Hey, my sister.
Right on, we got Ronika has joined us.
Hey, my sisters really be holding it up though.
Sisters be there, you know.
Yes.
The brothers come through the office, so you know I don't put too much pressure on them, and many of them will see this after they'll see on the YouTube channel, because not everybody does Facebook, so we'll upload this to YouTube for people who do that, you know, can check it out there. But you know, Mama Fa, we didn't mention and I know True Love Movement only kind of supported on the back end with some of the organizing, but oh, hey, what's going on, Caleb?
Hey, Caleb.
That's
my baby.
The homeschool gathering that happened.
Yeah,
you know,
we talked about it, didn't we? Or we didn't?
No, we didn't.
Yeah,
we
I
didn't.
promoted it. It was nice. It was, you know, a good solid group of people that came through just for information, like very informal.
Right.
And so I don't want to, you know, talk about the results of it, but
Definitely.
I think it was a good start. Yeah, I was proud to see many people that, you know, maybe I hadn't connected with in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold
He's
tight.
fussing. He
Hold
fussing.
tight a second. Yeah, I know.
Excuse us, y'all, but the puppy's fussing because he's in love with me and he wants to be where I am and he wants to bark and all these different things. So, yeah, my godson is watching. Caleb, hey Caleb, Umi loves you, man. He said he's proud of the work that I'm doing, which is very sweet. Thank you, man. We appreciate you. We're gonna see you soon, I hope. We're gonna be coming to Atlanta soon, so maybe we'll get a chance to have lunch or something.
That puppy is something else.
Yeah, just let him fuss. He can't be in here because he's just gonna be barking. and
Oh no,
everything.
I know he's definitely
Yeah.
off the chain. Shout out to, this is Mitchell, and I got my glasses on, so forgive me.
And you got your glasses on?
Yes, I gotta do better with that. But thank you. So yeah, family, just wanted to big up you, Mama Five, because you did a lot of that coordinating and behind the scenes and organizing and supporting that thing. And you were a big part of making it happen. You, not so much we, but you. And so I wanted to thank you for doing that. You know,
Yeah,
that's-
thank you, Brother Shaq. You know,
Because I don't know who else did, and that's real. Like,
nobody did.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of what we do is thankless.
And- yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and it just needed to be done. I had been putting out the idea of homeschooling your children with this charter school thing that's happening, just to realize that it's a viable option and that there is resources to be able to get that done. And so, you know, just a brief little organizational meeting to have people network and connect with each other. That's easy to do, you
Right.
know. Especially when you've been doing it for years and years and years, you have, you know, all the right people in the place, and it just comes together. So,
Right.
and that's what happened.
And you got there's a real network there. And so family, again, just that did happen. And the folks who were there know, those who know, as they say, and those who weren't there, well, you know, they weren't really in the know and particularly interested. But it's important that we do acknowledge the work, Mama Five, because it's always work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It really is work. And like you just mentioned, it's oftentimes thankless. But sometimes folks, because they don't see you, or they don't see me, or they don't see something, they think that maybe we weren't involved. So I think it's important to point it out. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, Brother Shaq, you hold it up so much. You held it up at the Malik Rahim event when I couldn't make it. You know, there was a lot going on Friday night. My daughter wasn't feeling 100%. Plus, I had to work. I had some Zooms to do because, you know, it's important for me to touch base with certain people every week.
Right.
And, you know, there a lot of the people that we see are functional and doing well, but then there's a lot of people we see just need that support during the week. You know, some people can go 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month and a half before we connect with them again. But some people need to be seen every week. And
Right.
so Friday, there was an opportunity for me to connect with someone that really needed support. And so I wasn't able to go to celebrate Malik Rahim, but Brother Shaq was able to go and hold it up for True Love Movement. So if ever you don't see one or the other of us, it means one of us is working.
Right, pretty
You
much.
know?
Pretty much.
So yeah, we're doing what we got to do.
And we do as much as we can together, family, because we think that's also important to make sure we're solid and demonstrate that, show solidarity. Shout out to Dawn Israel joining us too.
All right.
So, and I don't know what to say about that, Dawn. But at any rate, family, thank you for joining us for True Love Movement Tuesdays. This night, it's always a great show and a fun show. And I'm going to try. I saw that we had a young brother who was there. And so we're going to try to, I'm going to try to be cognizant of my profanity, because on True Love Movement Tuesdays it's a little loose. It's kind of unplugged, uncut, as Tracy Elizabeth said. It may surprise some of you that I curse as much as I do in regular life, but I do. And it feels a lot better, because their language, this English language, it ain't sufficient enough, Mama Fi, for everything I need to get out, and so I use the French too. But so anyway, on tonight's show, we wanted to talk a little bit about something that many of us talk about a lot, and perhaps too much, and that was white people. We think it's important for us to talk about white people just tonight. We won't do it anymore, but it's more like an informational kind of thing, because Mama Fi has mentioned before that sometimes we are perceived to be very radical, and I didn't know that, and that we have a unique position or stance where it relates to not so much white people, but where it relates to our own people. And the way we've all been socialized in America is when you hear something that lifts up black people or puts black people in front or doesn't mention white people, it tends to be presumed to be anti-white people. And that's an interesting phenomenon too. But we consider that to be very, very normal, which shows you how we've been socialized, that we're not able to talk about our own people or our own selves without concerning ourselves on where white people fit in or how white people feel about it. And we know there's a long history about that. We think that, now in 2019, with 400 years behind us, that we have really done well for white folks, and that we don't have to worry about them anymore. And we can really focus our time on us. But that does present a problem sometimes with those of us who do have white friends or white comrades or whatever close relationships that we sometimes have with white people. When people like us talk about white people, sometimes it makes them uncomfortable. And I'm talking about those of us who are black who have friends that are white, Mama Fi. And we know it doesn't have to be that way, so we think that we can take an opportunity to clear some of that up once and for all. Where we stand, how we understand this thing, and when we're talking about our people, what we're really talking about and who we're not talking about, Mama Fi.
Yeah. I mean, so True Love Movement's mission is to specifically support our people, black people, into rehumanization, like understanding our humanity and through self-love and self-awareness.
Right.
And just that in itself is enough to understand what True Love Movement is all about. We don't have to mention white people. We don't have to mention anybody else, because this is our mission. This is our focus. And I think it's about time that we stop even worrying about what white people are doing, what they're saying, unless we're talking about the general, understanding of the lie of white supremacy, which we mention all the time.
We do.
Even white people mention white supremacy. They got to understand that this thing is it's huge. It's bigger
Right.
than the quote unquote races. This is the lie that white people are superior.
Right.
It's the lie, and it's ingrained in every system there is in America, and really globally as well. And so I think if you notice and if you follow True Love Movement, we talk about white supremacy along with racism and the way it connects to patriarchy and misogyny, and we leave it at that. We're not people that have to center everything around what white people did and this white person and these kind of things. And it's on purpose. It's on purpose to have us looking deeply at our people.
Right.
At what it is that we need, what is it that we think, what are we, why are we thinking, how we're feeling, our emotions, our state of mind, our mindset. And I just think it's about time that people understood, they're different mindsets when it comes to something like this.
Definitely.
And I can connect to all my people. They have some people who are very upset at white people. They want to talk about white people on a regular basis. They want to say how white people be doing this and white people be doing that. Those are my people. Those are my people too. I can connect with them as well. They got some of our people that's just like, we are the world and kumbaya and one love kind of thing. Yeah. And I connect with those people too.
Right.
But True Love Movement has its own stance that it's about us, that we want to talk and walk and create and dissect and analyze what's going on with us.
Right.
And I'm ready to disconnect from talking about having to connect with or about white people.
Right.
I don't even want to mention them because I'd like an understanding of life without them. I mean, that might seem wrong, but that's just where I am, and not that I have a problem with walking around New Orleans and seeing white people. They don't bother me.
Right.
They don't bother me at all. Now if they did bother me, it'd be different. And then they don't. It's like police. You know what I'm saying? People know this about me. People might not agree, but I ignore police at all costs. So if I see police somewhere, I don't say, hey, what's up? I don't even look at them. Matter of fact, I go the opposite way. Right. When white people are around, if they speak to me, I might give them a head nod or whatever the case may be, but I'm just not, that's just where I am right now. I'm more concerned with connecting to my people. I'm more concerned with smiling and showing humanity to my people. I'm more concerned with, helping and trying to be caring and kind to my people. Now, if I'm not to the point where I may see white people and if they need help, like opening the door, somebody's trying to, got a baby carriage and they're trying to open the door, I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna open the door because I'm human. I'm a human being. But, I've fixed my life such that I don't have to be around white people. I don't work with white people. I don't, I have my own business. I can really live a life that is free of white people. And it's not because I hate them. It's just because right now I'm concentrating on my people.
Right.
And having my people around me and creating real relationships with my people and really being sensitive toward all of my people. If anybody's ever been to our office, we are surrounded by all kinds of our people, and to be sensitive and human. That's what I'm working on. I'm working on showing myself and my people humanity. I'm working on that because I was not afforded that, as a young person. I created my life to this point so that it could be this way. And I'm doing this on purpose.
That's right.
Brother Shaq, does that sound?
That sounds brilliant. What it sounds is very thoughtful, and I think it's a beautiful example because there's nothing disparaging in there about individual white people. I think part of the challenge is, at least for our folks, to get a good understanding and an authentic understanding about what you mean and or what we mean, and get their minds around it, is that when we're talking about, say, something like racism, which that's always a part of every conversation, whether we name it or not, because it kind of underlines everything. But when we're talking about racism, for example, we're talking about the farce that's white supremacy. We know that's not even real. Part of the challenge is that white people have an individual worldview. So in other words, say you know some white people or you're friends with white people, as far as those white people are concerned, they're all right. You know, they're cool white people, they're woke white people, or whatever it is, and they move in a world where they get to be individuals. They get to just decide on what their individual position is. But meanwhile, what racism does, or in a racialized society like we're in, people like people of color and black people are collectivized. So we're always part of a collective, those of us who have been politically designated as black. And so we experience what we experience as a collective of people. We don't experience it on individual levels, so we don't get the luxury of really having an individual position. That is part of the illumination of how racism is dehumanizing, because every human being, every single human being, is in fact a whole and individual and a complete human being. But politically in America, that individuality or that individualism is only afforded to the dominant culture in America, i.e. white people. So white people are very accustomed to having and experiencing life in the world through their own individual lens, that whatever other white people may do in other places have absolutely nothing to do with them, that other white people's opinions, white people who are bigots or Klansmen or alt-right or whatever those things are not them, and they disassociate from them and discriminate, from them, even because they don't want to be connected to those white people. And so they actually demonstrate the ability to be able to do that. But as black folks, we don't have that. Our situation is, and all black people know, that if black people in any particular category or class of black people should do anything, or any group of black people or subgroup of black people do something, the whole group and the whole of black people is on trial, is on display, is under scrutiny, had better watch out, and that's been the history of America. And so to that end, we just we reject that notion that we can't be human beings as black folks, individual human beings as black folks, who can make a choice on what kind of experience that we want to have. Now, let me say this too. We all know, at least many of us actually know white people and have had good experiences with individual white people, and there are some white people who don't mean any harm, but we do know that all white people benefit from the way racism is set up. All white people benefit, whether they want that benefit or not, and that benefit is non-transferable, meaning they're not able to extend that and give that to you, their good black friend, whether they like it or not, whether they want to or not. And so there isn't any reason for them to feel bad about that and any reason for you to feel bad about that. But we do have to be clear about the historical context and the historical nature of racism in America and what that has essentially done to black people, meaning black people have had to hold it up. Black people have had to consider and think about, man, what is my white friend gonna think if I'm associated with this particular thing? We just celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday yesterday. And, during his time, Dr. King was vilified. He wasn't this kind, loving, gentle, kind of person that they say he is now, or try to lift him up to be. He was a radical. He was talking about, integration and people all coming together. So we need to be clear about it. There was a time in this country when white people didn't want that, and white people did as much as they could to prevent that from happening, even though there was a black man saying, we should have a multiracial, multicultural society because we're all human and there's one God and all this kind of thing, whatever that political platform was. So I was just talking about how, you know, there's a lot of history in our concern with what white people are thinking, what white people are doing, and how that's so much a part of our experience because we've had to know those kinds of things in our past to survive.
Yes,
You know.
it's very true. And listen, this is a kind of tough one because I want to get across the understanding that being pro-black is not anti-white.
That's
for
right.
one, but also being pro-black ain't nothing to, you know, it's also it's a beautiful, powerful thing, you know, because I remember posting, you know, because every so often I'll post pro-black doesn't mean anti-white, and I'll get a lot of responses, but I'll also get responses from these so quote unquote militant people and it says, well, it needs to be because white people don't don't care about you. Matter of fact, white people trying to kill you and, you know, and all these different things as well. And so that's one side of it. And then you get the other side that says, but why we got to be pro-black though? Why we can't just be human? And why can't we just, and so there are different ways to view it. And I can understand all those ways.
Oh.
I can understand it. But at the point where I am in life, I think it's more powerful for me to say, just personally, and then me and Brother Shaq connect with it in different ways because he's a little more angry, I would say, at white people and what white, you know, certain white people and these kind of things that I don't have that. And so we're on
I like that.
we're on a little bit of a different kind of level too. But I would like to not have to worry about them. Like when we talk about Black Sit, Brother Shaq,
Right.
we had a whole show about it. We have several shows that we mentioned Black Sit. White people not coming with us. You know what I'm saying? Like we are really thinking about building a black nation and that's very real to me.
Definitely.
That's very you know, that we could take care of ourselves
Beautiful.
without the needs of anyone else.
Right.
You know? And that's a real vision in my mind that it could really happen. And in order to create that, I have to live that. I feel like we need to live that.
Right.
So that means that when I seek to go out and eat at a restaurant, I want to seek and go out with my people. I want to go eat with my people. I want to support my people.
Sure.
When I
and
go
enjoy.
to, yeah, enjoy it. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm taking a shot because I'm going.
Right, well, that's important
I like
too.
to envision a world
Right.
with just my people.
Right.
You know, and I know that's not necessarily the case, but I'd like to envision a community at least of just my people and being able to move through the place as if it was, you know, a utopia, you know, for black people. And I know that's not where we are. I understand that's not where we are, but I'm choosing to move myself closer in to my people, to be in proximity, to love and support and to, you know, connect, to help heal, to all these different things. And at the end of the day, it's a very political move.
Definitely.
This is a very political thing that I'm saying out loud. And it doesn't matter whoever lines up with that. It's not like I'm saying True Love Movement lines up with this. This is what I know. True Love Movement does not organize with white people. That's something that I can say outwardly, that we don't need to organize with white people. Now, if white people, like for the embassy thing, there are white people, the embassy studios thing, there are white people involved in that. But I'm not organizing with them. That's a resource that has been offered to me that I unapologetically am doing for my people. You know, the whole album has everything to do with being a black woman.
That's right.
And celebrating that and celebrating my people. And I'm using the opportunity that white people are involved in to create that. That's resource in excess.
Right.
And if it happens that way, I will gladly accept the support.
Definitely.
And the resource of access.
That's right.
But when it comes to me seeking out things specifically, you know, like whenever we have to do anything for True Love Movement, we are seeking black people to create flyers, black people to create T-shirts, black people to have it in, you know, whatever building it's in, black people to sit down and talk about who's going to do what. And I mean, that's important for our minds,
Right.
to believe, to understand that we can do it that way.
That's right.
And I've created my life that way, and not saying, you know, I hate anyone.
No.
But I really just love my people.
That's right, Mama Fire. I like that you spelled it out like that. And I think too, to add to that we don't really know who we are without white people being around. Like we don't really know, because that's been our experience here in America. So we don't even know our nature. I mean, think about that for a second. And to the degree that we don't know our nature, whenever white people are around, we all know that there is a power dynamic involved in that relationship.
Yes, there is.
Whenever white people are around, they tend to be in charge because they have historically been in charge. And so when you have something that starts off black and some white folks get invited into it, or they become a part of it, and then they co-opt it, and the next thing you know, it's theirs. And our people on the outside trying to get into the thing that maybe they started or they created, because and it doesn't even mean that the individual white people who are in it are sinister individually. It just means that that's been the history of the relationship. For example, I can give you many different accounts of we were talking about work situations or employment situations over the years, and things that I've encountered and things that I've witnessed, that white people can show up in a space, in a place, even in a place full of black people, and be presumed in charge. This is on a very subconscious level. This is without them asserting it, because we understand white and authority go together. And I've seen it so many times to where it really puts a strain on the relationship that our people have with one another when white people are present, because we're not as authentic with one another when white people are present. I mean, we code switch. We not only code switch in our head, but we code switch out of our mouths, because we want to make sure we've already gotten the memo. We want to make sure that white people are comfortable. That's what we want to do. We want to worry so much about white people being comfortable that we're willing to be uncomfortable. We're actually willing to be uncomfortable so that they can be comfortable. And we know that there's a long history of, you know, putting the needs and desires of white people above our own. And that being normative behavior, and that's something that we have just been trained to do on a very subconscious level, even at this point. And so we just want to make a point that this isn't just a matter of choice, but this is a matter of, when you are fighting for your humanity, you can't get well in the environment that made you sick. So if this whole idea about being surrounded by white people and white people being in charge and white people being in authority over you as a black person or a person of color, if that's been your experience, well, you're not about to find your humanity in that, because in the same way that you think white people in charge, white people also got the message. That's right. That they're in charge. Even if they're not saying that on the front, they do get the message. And the idea also, Mama Fi, that something must be multicultural, that it must have everybody a part of it, well, that's a farce. Because I'm going to tell you, there are many things, black folks, that are just for white people, that you are not going to be able to get into, that you're not going to be able to get involved in, that you're not invited to. There are exclusive clubs and country clubs and
they make things so expensive you can't afford it, and that's all purpose.
They make it so you can't afford it. They outprice you. I mean, so there's ways that it's done that way, and also just straight up that this is a private thing and a private function or private whatever, and it's for these people. We got Mardi Gras coming up, family. We know how enthused our people are about Mardi Gras, but just consider all of those Mardi Gras crews that are all white. There was a Mardi Gras crew, I forgot the name of it, when they had the mandate to integrate, they actually disbanded. They would rather not have a crew than to integrate with black folks. Now that's here in the city of New Orleans, and that's in this century. That's in the last 15 or 20 years. So That's one example. Another place where we like to see multiculturalism, or the idea that it's multicultural, is our who that fanaticism. And we just saw that happen where our people are loving the black and gold, just not the black by itself. Because there's something about the black and gold and the who that and the fleur de lis that was once stamped on our faces for escaping. I mean, there's a lot of sick, twisted shit in that we're still embracing it because it allows us the opportunity to be winners and to be in a multicultural setting. And there's something really desirable about being in a multicultural setting, because for many of us, whether we do it on a conscious or a subconscious level, it makes us feel more acceptable when it is a multicultural setting, when white people are present. It gives it, quote unquote, legitimacy for many of us. And we may never speak about that, but we'll behave that way. You know what I'm saying? And we'll make sure that we got everybody in and everybody included, because that's political, even if we don't really, really mean it. That's not a part of my fire. Some of us do that because we just want to seem like we're all inclusive, and we're really not.
Our people know. Our people know that.
Right.
You know, the majority of our people already knew. And my sister Ranika says, when you think of all we are able to do to participate, survive in this system, having a black nation seems so doable.
Definitely.
And the thing about it is, it has to seem doable in order for it to happen.
Definitely.
You know, in order for us to realize that we can do this for ourselves, and you know, we can have our own football team. We could have if football is important to people,
right.
You know, we could have our own. I mean, I know we have bigger fish to fry.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, this is not about segregation. Although MLK Day was yesterday, and there's a meme going around saying, I'm scared that I might have integrated our people into a burning house.
That's right.
And the thing about it is, we were so much stronger when we were segregated.
Definitely.
And this was in the same country.
That's
in
right.
the same country, white people had their thing and black people had their thing, and we were growing as a people.
Definitely.
Because we had to have our own doctors and dentists and lawyers and real estate agents and all these different things, but we so much wanted to have a piece of the American dream or the American pie.
That's right.
You know, that we're still getting the short end of the stick. Integration didn't say, well, it's equal. You know what I'm saying?
No,
it never will be in America, how America started, how North America especially,
right.
And all the Americas at the end of the day, and really globally, there's a whole revolution that must happen, and the self-revolution starts with saying that I'm good enough,
right?
That myself, for one, is good enough, and then my people, you know what I'm saying? My brothers and sisters are also good enough. That's where I am in the grand scheme of things, to be able to be a powerful group of people. You know, that's what level I am on. And there's a level after that as well, and a level after that, and a level after that. And listen, I don't have a problem truly with human beings. You know, like, can't we all just get along? At the end of the day, I can get along with anybody.
That's right.
I can truly, I got my brown brothers and sisters, and look, black and brown better get down for the come up, right? We got a lot of black people that don't mess with brown people, and maybe some brown people that don't mess with black people,
Sure
but
do.
the brown people that want to be included with the fight for justice and liberation. And self-love and self-sufficiency,
humanity,
and respect.
Humanity.
And I'm not saying that you black and you coming into the struggle with us, because there's a difference. There is a difference there, very slightly. But I will respect you and honor you as my brother and sister. I will, But I know where my heart lies, and I know where my heart needs to lie right now, as far as spending time. Helping myself and other people heal from what we specifically have been through.
That's right.
But I don't have I don't have problems with anybody. Asian people, Asian people stay to themselves, Brother Shaq.
right.
I don't see too many of them.
That's right.
Like talking about it. I see them staying to themselves too.
Right.
And
they're not
but I
talking
don't
about
have no
the
problem with them.
Right.
I'm not like that. But this is my mission right now. This is what I'm on, and I'm not saying anybody else needs to be on it. Luckily my man, the man I choose to live my life with and grow and build is also on that as well. Because I think it's important for us to stay connected with each other on this vibration.
Right.
To say it's all about us. It's about us, for us, by us. And so the homeschool event that we had was on an unapologetically safe Black space.
Right.
And I want to talk about that. Okay. I think it's okay. It's that's a turnoff for some people. Well, why do you have to say that? I have to say it because we are building for us here.
Right.
In this meeting. We are building just for us. We want to talk about homeschools for us.
Right.
Because listen, I have a very special person in my life that has decided to homeschool her child. And she has gone all over. She has gone to Metairie. She has gone to Kenner and all these different places to take her son to different experiences as far as homeschool is concerned. Do you know they told her she'd do better in her own neighborhood? They told her, well, yes, we do it over here, but it's best for you to stay in your own neighborhood.
Look at that.
Listen, they're unapologetic about it.
That's right.
And they have been unapologetic about it. So at the end of the day, it's okay for me to create something that's unapologetically a safe meaning ain't nobody coming to hurt nobody. And black, white, it don't matter who you are. We
That's
safe
right.
up in here. And it's a black space. And it's okay to have a black space. We are building here. We are building what was destroyed.
That's right.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Which is our humanity. That's what we're building.
Yeah.
We're building our humanity, Mom. I didn't want to cut you off with that.
No,
I think all the thing that you described was not something special or unique. It's okay for us to do this. We're saying to get out of the thinking that we have to explain or we have to consider or do all these other things as it relates to white people, because that's disrespectful to ourselves as original people, that we don't have to do that. This isn't about actively hating anybody. Like, we don't
I got so much love in me. I ain't got no hatred for
No.
you. I have so much love inside of me and inside of my heart and mind for my people. I ain't got time for no hate.
Right.
Now, at the end of the day, anybody come and they want to try to hurt or harm someone, or they're going to get got, or they're going to get hurt.
And that's inside or outside the community.
That is 100% inside or outside, because that's just where I have to be. That's where we all have to be. We on edge, and we want to live in love, but at the end of the day, we will protect ourselves if needed. But it ain't no hate.
No, it ain't hate, and also to think in terms of our emotions as black people, that we're mature enough to be able to look out and advance our own interests without violating anybody else's humanity. And I want to bring that up because that's not at all what we have done historically. So we don't really have a blueprint for what we're talking about. That's the reason why we're talking about it, family. That's why when it comes up amongst us and amongst our people, it brings about a little bit of tension, because we don't really have a historical blueprint on how it looks for black people to be authentically who they are in a space, their own space, or to form a space, to create a space wherever they are as black people that is sovereign and independent of any kind of white influence, authority, rule, or interference. That's just not part of our social norms as black people. It has been a bit of a fantasy. It has been a desire, but what we're seeing now is that our people are at a point in our history here in America, in our sojourn, that we are now about the business of creating these things. So it's not that we're the only one or we're the only people who think this way. We also know many of you who are watching this, who will watch this or share similar views, and maybe don't have the language or are misunderstood when you do talk about it, because white people, individual white people, are so sensitive to anything that isn't lifting up them and anything that isn't looking out for their interests, that they hear anti-white when you say pro-black. They hear it. And when they hear it, they like to jump in and say, hey, whoa, 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 why we got to bring race into the thing? Why we got to talk about race? Why, I treat everybody the same. And that's one of the hallmarks that individual white people will give you, family, when you mention this to them, because I know some of you watching have white friends and white coworkers. One of the first things so-called good white people will say is, hey, look, I treat all people the same. I treat my children to treat everybody as the same, and everybody is equal, and they tell you yada, yada, yada. But if you'll listen, they'll give you an individual experience. They'll tell you their individual position. They'll tell you what they do individually, which demonstrates to you that they exude individual power. See, they telling you, I don't care nothing about what all white people do. I'm telling you about me. I'm different, I'm individual, and I'm special, and I expect you to treat me accordingly, and don't get me mixed up with that foolishness and all that hate, because I love everybody. You see how that works? Kind of invalidating your position as a person who's saying, listen, I want to lift up me and lift up my people. And I'm going to say this, our people are hurt. Our people have been hurt, and we have been hurt by white people. We have been hurt by what the collective of white people benefit from. We've been hurt by that. So we're very tender and we're very sensitive. So it's difficult for us to talk about white people and white issues and what white people are doing with black people without becoming very emotional, without becoming incensed and ancestral anger. Mama Fire said I'm a little angry. I got a black nationalist background, and so as I get older, I'm softening up and I'm understanding how, white people have been oppressed too. I really have been educated on that. I understand that racism oppresses all people, including white people. Now, that was a different kind of phenomenon, but I actually learned how, and I saw it, because it takes everybody's humanity away. The thing about it is, though, it may oppress white people, but the oppression that it does for people like myself brings about pain, like in suffering, like real pain and suffering on a day-to-day basis. And it's not a philosophical discussion. So, I'm softening and understanding that better. And so I don't have any active hate for individual white people. I'm very interested and very proud of my own people. And I even suggest that we can look at the ways in which we consider how white people feel and think about our own people in the same way, because it proves that we have the capacity to think that way and to not politically make a switch and say, oh, well, it's just black people. And we tend to do that. I want to talk real briefly, Mama Fire, about the whole idea of meritocracy.
Okay. In
America. And so the idea about meritocracy is that people get what they work for, and that what people get is because they earn it. And oftentimes individual white people may assert that they earned this or they worked hard for this. And I don't, in America, I get that, but nobody has worked harder in America than black people. Historically, and also because we did it for free. So we took care of, made sure white people were straight, and we got no money for that. So that was hard work. And then if black people work the hardest, nobody works harder than black women. Let's look at that. So there are people like black people, and particularly black women, and the whole of black people that really could use our attention, really could use our care and concern about where they at with certain things because of what we've been through historically. And if we're not clear about that, whenever we get some white folks around us, that they overshadow, they'll dominate the conversation, they'll overshadow all the needs, it'll be about them, we'll make adjustments and do all kinds of things. And it's because we've been socialized to do that, family. We got an ancestral memory of that. So what we're saying to you tonight is, as black people, we got to actually work hard, internally and externally, to make sure that we are focusing on our people, because we got the noise and the distraction about making sure that white people have what they need, to make sure that they're comfortable, to make sure that they're not offended or not upset, that we're not even thinking about our own people. So I'm saying we can take that same skill that allows us to be very effective at that and just transfer it onto ourselves and our own people, and watch how we can grow our people. We don't have to grow them in adversary to white people. it ain't got nothing to do with white people. This ain't a dichotomous thing, meaning if it's about black folks, it don't have to be against white folks. It don't have to be nowhere about white folks. We can just keep it black, stay on that, and that ain't no harm. It's the same way that other communities do it. The Latino, our brown brothers and sisters, they have their affinity time where they deal with their own people, and that's what they want to do, and they deserve to do that. The Jewish people, they do the same thing with their people.
Hold on. Now the Jewish
You know what I'm
people
saying?
are black, the true Jews.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying
Let's
the
get real.
so-called, you know, and that's where I know that's not my level of expertise, but I mean those who call themselves Jewish in America, who were the last to become white in America in terms of people becoming white politically, have their own affinity, everything. They have their own nucleus, their own ecosystems, and they have it with a great deal of pride. They're unapologetic about it. So there's a lot of precedence about just individual groups of people who are white or otherwise that have their own thing. So this notion about whenever black people are doing it, it's somehow against white people is completely ridiculous. It's irrational, and it's really part of antiquated training and thinking that we're saying today, we can let go and let God. We can put all that down and focus on ourselves and our own people.
Did you just say let go and let go?
I did, because I read this right here. Natasha Wilson said, my best friend is white. I love him, but I want to help my people build self-love and have knowledge of who we are. It is more to be compassionate to our people to grow and heal.
Exactly.
Now, Natasha Wilson had a great point, family. She said, which is often very cliche, my best friend is white. So the beautiful part about having that kind of scenario, if that is your scenario, if you have a best friend that's white or a good friend that's white, because you all have this friendship bond, you can sit down with them and have the real equity conversation. You know, because they can't get mad, meaning you can really talk to them about the truth of what has happened historically with your people and how that has impacted your life and how they need to come up with some of them coins, how they need to help you with some access because you are friends. I mean, let's suppose this. I was talking about this to Mama Fi earlier let's suppose this scenario, family. You call your good white friend, you go down to the bank, and you meet with the loan officer, and you call your good white friend, and you say, listen, I need you to come down here, please, quickly. It's very important. And because y'all are good friends, they come. So your good white friend shows up at the bank, and they're like, what's going on? They're concerned. You know, they were there to try to help see what's going on, what you need. And so you introduce them to the loan officer at the bank. You know, you thank them for coming, introduce them to the loan officer. And so they're trying to figure out, okay, hey, how you doing? What's this all about? And you explain to your good white friend, you say, listen, I need you to first find out how much money you qualify for borrowing, because I need you to take out a loan for me. You tell this to your good white friend. You say, good, because you're my good white friend, I need you to take out a loan. And I know they're going to be probably looking at you like, well, what do you mean? That's ridiculous. But we're good friends, and that's what I need from you. And so you say to them, and I also need you to pay it back. I don't need you to co-sign. That's not what I'm asking for. I need you to get the loan, you to pay it back, and I want you to give me the money. Now, if you got a good white friend, and y'all been tight for a long time, your good white friend might look at you and might say, wait a minute, that's ridiculous. Why would I do that? They may even say, that's not even fair. How could you ask me to do something like that? They may really be appalled, Mama Fire. It may cause you and your good white friend to have a little tension. Y'all might even fall out momentarily. But as they're perplexed and incensed or whatever emotion it may stir up in them, because they're thinking about how audacious is it for you to call them down there, ask them not only to take a loan out for you, but pay the loan back even. I mean, that's your money. How could they do that? You explain to them, your good white friend, because they are your good white friend, and as our sister was talking about being compassionate, you say to them, listen, you're right. It isn't fair, because there's nothing fair about that. But you do have to remind them, in terms of equity, that they are able to come down there and qualify for that amount of money, not because they worked hard, but because your ancestors worked hard in a way that benefited their ancestors, which put them in that position to be able to get that loan for a higher qualifying rate and a better interest rate, right? Being this is your good friend. It's your good white friend. See, when you do that, you're going to force them to have to deal with something that, no, it isn't fair and it isn't right and it doesn't feel good, but nobody was fair with your ancestors. It wasn't fair for your ancestors to work for 249 years from can't see in the morning to can't see at night to earn $0 to benefit other people. That wasn't fair either, but it sure happened. And because it happened, your good white friend is in a much better financial position than you are. And because of that, your good white friend should be a good friend and take that loan out and pay that loan back. That's the right thing to do. That's what a good friend would do. And see, you couldn't do that for them because you're not in a financial position that way because you don't have access that way. Historically, you were deprived of that because you were too busy building wealth for the people who owned you. You see how that works? So your good white friend will have that conversation with you in the spirit of friendship in the bank while you are trying to get them to get this loan for you because they're your good white friend. And you all have been friends for a long time. You see, that's what friendship is all about.
But I mean,
and we've not known friendship like that. Not even when they said, what a friend we have in Jesus, have we known friendship like that, Mama Fi.
And I know that's just a story, but at the end of the day, ain't nobody about to do that. Ain't nobody, you know. You
don't think so?
No, and ain't no white friend. It doesn't mean that they're friends if they go and take a loan out for you and pay it back and all these different things. I know what you're doing with that story, but at the end of the day, you can have a white friend. Natasha have a white friend. She have a white friend,
yeah.
and she says, I have a white friend, but the thing about it is you have a white friend and
right.
You love your people and you want your people to be well and then you don't have to say but, it's right. Okay. And so listen, I don't have any white friends, I made that choice to not have any white friends, but my son, my oldest son, has a white girlfriend.
That's right.
He has a white girlfriend. And that's hard, y'all. And it was hard at first. It was very, very hard for me to deal with that. But it started causing a little bit of tension between me and my son. My oldest son, any of my children. Right. If anybody knows me, I am Mama Supreme. And there will never be any tension between any of me and my children because, we have an open line of communication. We are honest with each other. We love each other. We talk, we talk it through. We talk everything right. through. And so I realized I created children who have a different view of the world. Mm-hmm. My children went to African-centered homeschool. My children know all about Africa. My children know about being proud to be black. My children know all about all of the different black leaders and understand. And he still has a white girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And so does that mean I'm messed up in some way? And Brother Shaq helps me with this all the time. He said, no, you gave birth to the true one love children.
Yeah.
You gave birth to the children who really, really understand how to love, and would I have chosen that for him? Not at all. But it ain't my choice. Right. It ain't my choice to choose for my children. Now, if we were betrothed, and said, well, y'all gonna grow up and get married and these kind of things, and sometimes I think that may have worked. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Two families grow children up and they grow up together as friends and right. then end up having children themselves. I think that's a beautiful thing. But that's not how this went. Right. And so when my oldest wants to bring his girlfriend around, do you think I'm ugly to her? I could never be. I'm not an ugly person. I'm not an ugly person. I'm not looking for what's wrong with her. This is the choice that my son made. And I have to live with that to a certain extent. This is what I'm choosing as a mother, to allow to let my son go, let him go and make choices. I raised him. Right. I raised him to be a good man. I raised him to be a caring, smart person. And so everybody's got to go through their thing. Everybody's got to create the lives that they want to live. My son knows exactly what kind of person I am.
Yes, he does.
He knows the things that he knows what True Love Movement's all about. And we don't when his girlfriend is around, we don't hold our tongue and
Right.
talk about something different or say it differently. We act the same way around our house. We talk about the same things that we talk about all the time. And so if you have white friends, ain't nobody trying to tell you you're a bad person.
Not at all.
If you got white friends, oh no, you can't come over here about us because we don't have no white friends. I'm making a choice for my own life because I'd like to know what it feels like to just be with my people.
Right.
To just be friends with my people. To just, when I add value to a space, to do it in a black space.
Right.
And also to give to my people and also receive to my people.
Right.
That's what I want to build. And if that's what I want to build, that's where I spend my time.
It's very difficult for black people to be authentically who they are with white people around. I mean, on all levels, Mount Fire, but I even mean to the degree where how we eat and what we eat. You know what I'm saying? Like how we do a lot of the things that are quote unquote culturally normal. Like we do it different when our people are around than when white people are around. And this is not always conscious, but there's a lot of dimming our light is what I'm saying that goes on. And this is it's more of a tradition at this point. So what we're saying is in order for us to change that and bring about a real equitable future for ourselves, because look, we're not looking for justice from white people. Say that again. We're not looking for justice from white people because we know that ain't fixing to happen.
It's not about to. It's not
That's
about
not
to
about
happen.
to happen. The justice
Justice
is
would be if white people went and got loans for us, or if white people bought houses for us, or if
that would be just.
it would be fair. But that's not fixing to happen. It's not going to happen that way.
Right.
We have to. What is it?
Just us. It's just us.
It's just us.
It look like it's just me because Mama Fire getting up.
I'm getting some water. That's
No, but what we're saying, and Ranika laughed. He said, but it will help the white friend understand some things. That's really what it is.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
The idea is to say, listen, white friend, you've got some access that I don't have, and I want some of that. And that if we're gonna be friends, it needs to be beneficial to me in that kind of way. Because look, that's just the way it really needs to be. When white people are really sincere, and I remember that part in Malcolm X when the white girl asked Malcolm, what can I do? Remember? She said, what can I do as a white woman? He looked at her, he said, nothing. Can't do nothing. And, later on as he was older, he realized and rethought that idea that white people can do something. They can really get clear about racism. They can get
they can.
their people. They can get other white people together. I mean, I'm going to tell you, the white people that I do know are anti-racist, racist white people. I'll say that again. They are anti-racist, racist white people, which means they live and operate with anti-racist principles, and they're held accountable by people of color on the spot. And that's how they roll. And they can get checked. And they are clear about who leads anti-racist movement. They understand all of that. And that's the condition. And they know that they'll always be racist by the virtue of them being white people. That the best they can do is be an anti-racist, but they also know that that's not all that they are. But that's their thing, and if they really want to do something about racism, they don't need to be saving black people or in black communities, saving black people and running, black spaces and those kinds of things. They need to be over there with white people, helping white folks get clear about racism, their complicity in maintaining the institution of racism, and also what racism has done to their humanity. But that is the job and function of white people to do for white people. And when white people are really sincere, as a good brother by the name of Ron Chisholm, People's Institute, explain and express oftentimes that when white people are really solid, you got a bunch of white people over there dealing with other white people on the injustices happening to black folks, and over there working that shit out on behalf of them black folks without any black folks around, without any other people of color around. You just got white people dealing with white people. See, those white people right there, because they are clearer and they get it, they don't insert or try to insert themselves in black spaces. So that's a different kind of level. And so if you got white friend like that, or you got some folks like that that are around you, they're going to be a benefit to you if they're going to be around you. Because that's the condition for it. There ain't no white folks that just get to hang around and get their life hanging with you. White people that get to work out their white guilt by saving poor black people. None of that. We ain't facilitating none of that. We ain't being complicit in none of that. That's disrespectful. So that's the whole thing. There's a lot of work that has to be done with just white people and white people before white people and black people can really occupy the same space and have equity in that space. And family, we not there yet. We haven't even done that work with ourselves, and we just beginning to look at it. And we just can't do it with white people there, because if we're not clear, they'll always end up being in charge. And we'll just be perpetuating the same stuff that we say we want to get away from. So, you know, that was that part on that, Mama Fi. Now, you wouldn't got to keep it high.
Yeah, we got to keep it high. And Keep It High states it very, very proudly in the last chapter, the 13th chapter.
13th chapter.
True Love Movement in a New Light. And I talk about how the mission statement of True Love Movement. So I said, all of my gifts and talents are wrapped up in the mission statement of True Love Movement. Nothing is lost in flowery language. Nothing is lost in rhetoric. It is a clear statement to a vision for powerful people. Of course, there have been some backlash to have a mission statement that designates only black people. The backlash has been from black people and white people. Mm-hmm. I remember when I designed my website in 2008 and I boldly displayed the mission statement on every page of the website. One of my sisters called me and said, "You can't have something just for black people. Not only is it racist, but you might lose a lot of money from people being turned off by it." I started to laugh and replied, "Racist? How is empowering black people to love themselves racist?" We spoke on the phone for nearly an hour. She tried to convince me that it was a bad move, but she couldn't. What could she say to me to help convince me not to live my life's purpose that was so beautifully placed on my heart by the Most High? If the mission statement turns people off, then it's not meant for them.
Right.
Anyone who watches the news and witnesses news stories about murders, incarceration rates, drug addictions, broken families, and poverty of black people knows that black people need specialized care and specific help. Who better to provide them with that help than someone who is passionate, trained, has been there herself, and knows what it takes to turn it all around?
Right on.
True Love Movement has never been only about money. How could I care about the money I might lose when my people are in the state they're in? True Love Movement will never turn our people away because of lack of money. The ones who can afford to pay will help us help people who can't afford to pay. And I couldn't care less who is turned off by the concept of black people empowering black people.
That's right.
The white people that have a problem with the mission can't truly understand the difference between the white people that have had a problem with the mission can't truly understand the difference between black and white people. Although white people were the ones who started the difference, right? So they don't even see a difference. There are some people who don't really see quote unquote color. Mm-hmm. They don't see color. And so therefore they don't see the difference between black and white.
Right.
White people can't understand what it means to be a black person in the world. There are no books that they could read or any experiences they could have to make them know. The myth of white supremacy is ingrained in all of the systems of the whole world. Just the fact that they are white makes me know that they will never understand, so I don't try to convince them. I keep the conversation focused. I let them know the healing of black people isn't about you. You will reap the benefits from the healing of black people. Everyone will benefit. Your so-called white privilege keeps you from understanding why it's important for black people to do this for themselves. That white privilege makes you think you are always right and you can always help everybody better than anybody else. Step back and recognize. Then, if you want to help other white people recognize and understand that. You could also donate money and resources. We will gladly take those.
Right on.
And that is all. Beyond that simple statement, there is nothing more that I can tell them. This mission isn't about preserving white people's feelings or thoughts on the subject of specialized healing for black people.
Right on.
Some folks say you can't have a business specifically for black people. What about all the businesses specifically for other people? There are schools and community centers for Jewish people. There are churches and shops just for Vietnamese people. There are counseling centers for battered women. It is time for us to understand that black people have unique needs. Let's revisit the black story. And then I go on to talk about the black story. But we are unapologetic about that, Brother Shay.
Right on.
That this mission that we're on has nothing to do with white people.
Nothing.
They don't have any input in it. Now, for the white people, because there have been some white supporters, and shout out to them, they send donations.
That's it.
Because they know that this has to happen.
That's
in
right.
order for balance in the world to happen, this part must happen. And this is what I am here for. This is what Brother Shaq is here for.
That's right.
Unapologetically.
Keep
it high.
Right
Thoughts
on.
in a new light.
Right on. That's a great plug for the book, Mama Five, because you
Yeah.
put that in there long ago. That's been done. But there is a precedence for something specifically for black people that True Love Movement did not begin. But interestingly enough, it was began in 1851 right here in Louisiana. So in Louisiana, Louisiana actually commissioned a white doctor by the name of Samuel Cartwright in 1851. The Louisiana Medical Association commissioned him to find a disease that was peculiar to the Negro. And what he was able to find was that he called this thing drapetomania. And what it was designed to, it supposedly explained why enslaved Africans tried to escape or flee captivity, and he called that a mental illness. Now, this was in the Louisiana medical journals, and as well as the American Medical Association had this disease called drapetomania. Now, this was just made up. This was just straight made up by this white doctor who was a former Confederate soldier turned doctor, and he was commissioned. He says it says he believed he found a rational explanation for the disturbing desire to escape servitude. He called this disease of the mind drapetomania, which Greek roots roughly translating to runaway slave and crazy, and reassured slave owners that it was entirely curable by whipping the devil out of the slaves who suffered from it. Samuel Cartwright was convinced drapetomania was a psychological disorder because the Creator's will in regard to the Negro declares him to be a submissive knee bender. In other words, black people were put on this earth to be slaves, and servitude was ingrained in their nature. Now, there's more to that, but what I just read to you was about Samuel Cartwright developing.
Just look it up.
You can Google that, developing this disease called drapetomania. And this was an actual disease that was in the American medical journals as well as Louisiana. And so he practiced medicine in Louisiana in 1851. Now think about that, because in 1851, we're talking about, what is that, Mama Fire, 9 years later, or 14, what is that, 14? Yeah, 14 years later, 1865, for the Emancipation Proclamation. So think about what something like that, like a diagnosis, could do to prolonging slavery. Like, think about the political implications of this man coming up with this, who was a doctor and a respected doctor who practiced also in New Orleans, who did this and was paid money to do this. So that was the historical precedent, Mama Fire, for there being this specific condition that was suffered by the quote-unquote Negro, and those of us who are politically designated as black today in 2019 are the direct descendants of the American Negro. So this doctor actually had the first precedent for diagnosing a disorder that was unique to the enslaved African people and their condition. So what you describe True Love Movement doing in being here specifically for the mental health and well-being of black people is not without precedent, and that precedent was actually begun by a white man who was a respected doctor who practiced right here in Louisiana as well as in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's
So-
right. And the thing about it is, he's looking at it. Of course, I mean everybody gets it. He's looking at it from, you know, why would slaves want to run away? And
Right.
we're looking at it like it's time to move away from what we've always known about black people, that the white supremacy, the model of white supremacy has told us, and what it has done to our minds,
Right.
what it has done to us psychologically, what it has done to our self-esteem, what it has done to our idea of power. You know, we don't even realize that we hold power.
Right.
That we have power. You know, when we ask young people all the time, "Do you have power?"
Right.
Or, you know, and they'll be like, "No." You know, white people have all the power. They'll
Right.
tell you that, and they'll say power is money, and they'll say power is influence, right? And we've all been taught that. We've all in our minds been taught that, and we have to relearn what power is by discovering power in our own selves.
That's right.
You know, and that is what Brother Shaq and I are doing. We have a whole curriculum called the Power Class.
That's right.
And it has proven itself to be wonderful for young people to get an understanding of who they really are.
We got several curriculums too, by the way.
Several curriculums, yes. I'm just talking about
Different,
that
right.
power curriculum
Right.
is powerful.
That's right.
This is the work that True Love Movement is doing every day, and it's not against anybody.
Ain't against
it's
nobody,
not against. We
family.
ain't sitting up there talking about white people. And look, white people.
Because
We ain't petty people. We big, large-minded, large-hearted people that understand that the rise must happen. It must happen for every living being on this planet because things are not in balance.
Right.
And black people need to be in their proper place on this planet in order for balance to happen.
That's right. So just understand, family, that we did this so that we can say this publicly and like, you know, not talk about it really anymore and do our best to clear it up. If you got questions, put them in the comment section, specific questions. You know, we'll do what we can to answer them because we don't want something that you may be confused about to stop you from getting your humanity. See, if you're looking for your humanity, come to True Love Movement because we help with that. We support that journey. You know what I'm saying? We deserve to do that in order for us to survive what has happened to us, what happened to us all on the plantation all them years. We had to lay down some of our humanity, and they stripped the rest of it away from us till there wasn't nothing left but chattel. I mean, this has been our legacy in America, and it has been at the hands of white people, and those who have come to be called white have been the benefactors of this. This is all history. So if I'm a little bit salty with white people, as some of you all may be a little bit salty just with the collective of white people, it's okay. It's a normal response. It's a re-stimulation of persistent trauma. It's okay. And white people are not usually collectivized. That's really the sticking point because white people operate as individuals, and when you say white people, they be like, hey, not me, I'm not like that. But you as black people and people of color, you're not afforded that in this racist society. You don't get to be an individual. You are seen as part of a collective. And so it's important too that we can collectivize white people and say, well, this is where we're at with white people, the collective of white people. And that's okay. And really all we're saying is we're setting that aside and putting that over there, and we're focusing exclusively on what's good for our people. Straight up. With pride though, family. Like that don't need to be no tension between us as black people.
Not at all.
We
Not
need to
at
be
all.
okay with
It's
that.
okay to say that. It's okay to do that.
Right.
You know, I'm living my life this way. I've never been so joyful.
Yeah.
It's because when I'm around white people, and this is just the truth, I don't feel like my light is shining the brightest. And is that internalized racial inferiority? Whatever it is,
Most definitely.
there is a thing that will not let me and the thing about it is, when I go in there shining brightly, a lot of what I say may be misconstrued, or like I said before on the True Love Movement, a lot of what I say may be taken.
Definitely.
Maybe taken and done with, I just don't even put myself in those situations. It's not that I'm scared of it. I mean, I grew up in a very diverse situation. I went to school with white people throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, college. It's not that I can't do it, and before I worked on my own, a couple of years as I was working with different things, different organizations and stuff, I'm working with white people too. And I made the choice. I made the very conscious and conscientious choice to be with my people, to offer my light and brilliance in a place where I understand if maybe I get some type of look from my people. I get it. I get that we have been bamboozled. You know what I'm saying? We have been lied to, and we have been made to be unbalanced and made to be sick.
Right.
And so I'm able to really help my people. I'm able to really love my people through that. But white people, when I'm not there yet.
Right.
I can't. I'm not about to say,
it ain't time.
Kumbaya, we are the world. I'm not there yet.
No.
I've got to do it with my people first. I have to have any. Let me ask people who are listening. Has anybody done the work with, not only with yourself, but done the work with specifically your people? Because I think that's an important part of this.
Definitely.
I think you do work on yourself, you do work with your people, and really, I'm not even sure what's next, because the work with our people is so important that we can't even think about what's next. We have to really be engrossed in it and like really immersed in this work with our people.
Right.
You know?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know who has done that particular work.
We are.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
We're doing
beside
it now.
Beside the folk that we talking about, the people who are watching. We'd love to hear from you about done that particular work where you are taking care of. You've been able to get to all of your business as a black person here in America, and move beyond that, and then can get to white people too. Because I'd like to know how that goes too, Mama.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people. I think there's a special group of people that have a heart to be this taking and saying there's no race, there's no color, there's no I think I don't know and if you are and it works for you, wonderful. That's wonderful. I personally don't think it lines up that way.
Right. I don't think so. I don't think so either. I think because we just got a lot of work we got to do with ourselves. That's what we're saying, family. That the most important thing is, let's take care of our own business and gain our humanity back. And we'll also presume that white folks and good white folks are working on becoming human again with other white people, and there will come a time.
Sorry, y'all.
It's okay. And there will come a time where we'll be able to have that, we are the world, the kumbaya moment. But we understand right here, right now, we got to do this work before we can ever get to that. So it's just a matter of moving through the process, and it's okay that we're in this phase of the process. I mean, family, listen. We was on that plantation for 249 years.
Come on.
249 years we on the plantation. We've only been off of it for 154 years. So that means 90 more years we were on it than we've been off it. Now, there is a chance, but it's also very unlikely that many of us who are watching this will be around here for another 90 years. Meaning, in 90 years from now, we will be at the midpoint where we were on the plantation as long as we were off it. In 90 more years, in almost another century. So we haven't even come to a time in history, recent history here on the planet, where we were emancipated as long as we were enslaved. And I'm just talking about legally. It has nothing to do with what happened after slavery and Reconstruction and the oppression that our people still feel today.
Yeah.
So I'm saying all that to point that we're crawling. We're not yet positioned to really be able to look at white people through the eyes of whole and healthy and healed human beings from a collective standpoint.
Yeah.
And guess what? They're not in a position to look back at you in the same way either. That's how come, as long as we try to work together without doing our own work, we're just exacerbating the problem, but we're still suffering from it, family. So in an effort to love ourselves, we're saying we need to caucus, and we need to have our black affinity groups, and create our black nation, and get back to ourselves.
Yes.
And trust that whatever white people need to do, that they're going to take care of their own business over there, and that they can do it without us. That
That's
we don't
right.
have to run over there to be a part of that. We don't have to help them or save them or do any of that, because we can't anyway, and it's not ours to do. And that we can spend our time where it really needs to be, and we can spend our mind where it really needs to be. And for all of the times that I have taken up time and space in my own mind, I'm forgiving myself for that. And with just what white people were doing, what white people were saying, that whether we're talking about the collective of white folks or individual white folks, I'm liberating myself from that. Shout out, we got Shantice Denise, we got a brother Cordell Dubaclay in there. Man, I ain't seen that brother in, boy, it's been a minute. What you say, Mama Fi? Over Ranisha Johnson, what's happening?
Yeah.
Trisha
yeah.
Jones, okay.
I think this has been a tough kind of conversation. We haven't had many responses. A lot of times we'll have people talking, and this is a galvanizing mission that we are on when we're talking about our people. So being a part of True Love Movement has always been like, think about, the loving yourself, loving your people. If you can do that, then you're already a part of True Love Movement. There's nothing to sign on the dotted line. There's no fee to pay. People say, well, I want to be a part of the True Love Movement. Love yourself, brother. Love yourself, sister. Be on that journey to really understanding what self-love is. Spreading that. Once you know what that is, spreading that amongst our people, and really understanding why that is so important. And so could you have a white friend or a white wife or a white and mixed child or something like that and still be a part of True Love Movement? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Could you be somebody that's like, man, F that. We don't want that. We need to be taking care of ourselves and all that. Yes, you can still be a part of True Love Movement.
Right on.
If you are a black person who understands why it's important to love yourself and love your people, you on that journey with us. You on that movement with us. We are, and you started off talking about being radical, Brother Shaq. I remember so clearly, we were at a rally. I think they had done a rally for Eric Garner.
Yeah.
We were at a rally for that. And we were so hurt about what had happened that we decided to be a part of that. And they asked us to speak. And we spoke specifically to our people. And there was a lot of white people there to help. And then the person who got up after us was a black woman, a black influential woman in New Orleans right now. I'm not going to say her name, because if I said her name, Lord, it might cause some problems. But she got up there and she said, well, I don't know what they're talking about, but whoever you are, you can be my friend. You can, she just made it this big thing. And what we said was so taken well, Brother Shaq, like it was taken well by all black people, by white people too. White people was like, and she got up there to apologize for us.
Right.
Say, well, and then, they can't be a part of True Love Movement. I'm just
right.
you know, this is not
Yeah.
like some kind of club or something. But I'm just saying we don't have to apologize for
Right,
it.
for being
Even
being
white
who we are.
people understand this, y'all.
Particular sincere white people, family. We're not going to
They
even pretend like they
understand.
don't
They
have
got,
sincere
you
white
know,
people. They got
They
sincere
got
white
sincere
people.
white people that understand why this part is important. But understand why when black people understand who they are, get their minds right and rise, that's good for everybody. That's good for every human. That's good for the animals on the planet. That's good for,
That's good
for
for
the
everything.
water. That's good for the, climate control. That's good for everything because it restores balance.
Right, because that's what we're experiencing, family. That the nation, the world is out of balance, and a lot of it has to do with this. I think one last thing that we should say in terms of qualifying what we're saying here about white people and the level of importance and energy that we're given. I would like for those, we got some people, Mama Fi, I think, who we're watching who are very logical, rational people who would say that they're not the emotional type of people and they don't have the emotional response that overpowers their thing, because there's nothing wrong with emotion, but that they are balanced people. And so I think we can use this, people like metrics, because we've been kind of socialized in the white organizational culture to where what we're saying is kind of vague unless we say, well, do it this way or do it like this.
Yeah.
So if we'll look at those who have come to be called white people, let's look at the quantity. According to the World Census numbers, those who have come to be called white make up exactly 8%, approximately 8%, a little bit less actually, than 8% of all the people on the planet. So that means, said another way, that of all of the folks that's on the planet, less than 8% of those people are those who have come to be called white. Again, less than 8% of the people on the planet are those who call the 92% of the people on the planet a minority. And we know minor just simply means less than.
Yeah.
So if we're going to do it from a balanced perspective, Mama Fi, as you pointed out, I'm recommending that we devote no more than 8% of our attention
Come on, Brother Shay.
to white people,
Yeah.
based upon their representation on the planet. Again, this is not my opinion. This has nothing to do with how I feel. This has nothing to do with any of it. Simply look at the World Census information that I did not take. And it tells you 8%, and that 8% is also dropping because in 2014, possibly maybe 2013, you can find out for certain, because that isn't as important. But what has been discovered is that more white people are dying than are being born. So that means that those people who have come to be called white are in a real crisis. They're in a real crisis for their survival. This is according to the World Census numbers that no one that I know of black is in control of. So 8% of the planet's people is white. If you are not white, because if you're white, I can understand that you need to give 100% of your attention to that, because that is a small number. But if you are black, let's have proper perspective and let's keep it to the 8%. That's a reasonable number. It's relative to the planet's population, and I think it makes sense, Mama Fire. Yeah. That's a big goal. Now let me give a smaller goal. A smaller goal that if you are local and you're American and you're in America, you should Google the population breakdown in America and determine what that is, okay? Now, we don't know the truth about that, but just think, if black people are only 13% of the population and you keep only 13% of your focus and energy on yourself and your own people, and you put maybe 70% on white culture, which is the dominant culture here in America, we're going to be doing the same thing. So that's completely out of balance as it relates to the world. So we got to think global, right, Mama Fi?
Yes.
We got to think global. We got to look at the big
global.
picture. We got to look at the big picture, family. So that's my recommendation. Let's keep it at the 8% of our attention, right? and keep our mind stayed on what it needs to be stayed on, and who it needs to be stayed on, which is what we can affect, which is us, to try to reclaim our humanity, man.
So Decker Randolph says, Mr. Shaq, it is our time. Our 400 years of bondage is over.
I've been hearing that.
We will see a changing in leadership. We served white people since coming to America, which is a land foreign to us, according to Deuteronomy, chapters 28, verse 68.
Mm-hmm.
We were ordained to serve the white man under the curses spoken in Deuteronomy. So yes, they had the power over us, but lots of our black people are waking up. We are the chosen people of Yah Elohim, the Most High. White people are becoming the minority, and they are becoming to know this. So we will soon come together as one voice.
As the brother Decker Randolph said, so they got all different kinds of ways you can come at it. We just saying come at it.
Come on.
Come on at it. And that, just hearing something like that, we know that's where we started this and that's where we'll end it. We know that when maybe our good white friend hears something like this, they say, oh no, they're going to do something to us. And that's really just the ultimate white guilt that they know intuitively that they got ill-gotten gains.
Mother Nature working. Hey. The power of Mother Nature is doing what Mother Nature do. And I think a lot of white people are really coming to connect with black people. What I'm seeing is a lot of interracial couples.
Right.
And it's because they realize that's the only way they're going to have babies.
The chicken's coming home to roost.
That's the only way they're going to have babies. And listen, you know what I like. You see what I like. I love the black man. You know what I'm saying? I love the black man.
Right on.
And so
chocolate man.
I live my life the way that I think is right. You know what I'm saying? And not that other ways are wrong, but the way that I believe is the right way for me to live my brightest, best life is loving and supporting the black man. The black woman loving and supporting the black man. That's how we going to get to the rise as we need to.
That's right. So, family, I hope we have put this white people thing to bed so that it can go to white heaven or wherever it goes. But it can leave our consciousness and leave our thinking and leave our subconsciousness and free up space. Like you're deleting a whole bunch of bullshit off your hard drive and you're freeing up space, Mama Fi.
Freeing up your heart.
Your heart space, your heart drive. So 8% for white, 92% for yourself, family, yourself and your people. It's only logical and it's only rational, it's reasonable, and it is inevitable, as our brother Decker Randolph said, it is inevitable. So, this is our time, family. We thank y'all for joining us here at True Love Movement Tuesdays. We don't know if we'll have a True Love Movement hour on Saturday. Stay tuned for that. This show, as well as the others, will be uploaded onto the True Love Movement YouTube channel. And we're going to ask for a couple of specific things, family. We want to get some likes. Can we get likes on the True Love Movement page? Family, can we do that? Can we get some people to subscribe to the True Love Movement channel? Somebody said, Mama Fi, that it'd be real good, but it'd be long. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of time our people don't have heavy-duty attention spans, and we get that. But I want you can do this. You can do this, family. You can try to pay attention to what we're talking about like you would pay attention to somebody white. Because we know that there's a lot of times it just depends on what it is. And sometimes we'll get in places and how do you say when E.F. Hutton talked?
I said that?
No, not you. I'm just talking about it was said back in our time. E.F. Hutton, everybody listens. We think we got some valuable perspectives that are not so unique to us, but there are many people who line up with this, and we're able to articulate it in a certain way. We also have a platform, and we use it for the benefit of our people. And so that being the case, we would like to offer you, and we'd like to appeal to you to share this. Some of it may be controversial to you. We're not saying you got to buy it all because we ain't selling nothing. But if it resonates with you and you want to talk about it, or you can dig it, or you don't dig it and you want to talk about it, that's cool too, because we think we can reason with you. You know, we think we can reason with one another because we're not trying to convince you of anything. What we talked about was largely history, you know, things that you can Google. You know, we talked earlier today, Mama Fi, you weren't there, I was with a group, we were talking about the library and the card catalog, how we used to have to go get information that we couldn't just pull up the phone. So we used to really have to research. So that's how come some of the stuff we know, we really, really know, because we had to go through a lot to get it. But you know, we think it's good work. We're proud of it, and we appreciate your support.
Yes.
What you say?
I say I think we're gonna do a show on Saturday.
Okay, I think we're gonna do a show on Saturday, family, because Mama Fire said
I think
we're gonna do a show, and whatever this lady says is gonna happen.
Y'all want a show on Saturday? No matter what happens with WBOK, we can still do it from the comfort of our home. I think we should try.
Definitely. Well, listen. So we're gonna have a True Love Movement hour on Saturday. It may be coming to you at a new time, in a new location, but True Love Movement is still on, family. So for True Love Movement Tuesdays, I'm Brother Shaq.
And Mama Fire.
For True Love Movement Tuesdays.
Wholeness.
Wholeness, family. All right.
I be something tired.
If you're in this video,
Wait, we gotta end it over here. Huh?
wait. This live video, you'll be able to choose.
I thought we had. Yeah.
Trying something.
Love y'all.
Trying something fancy where I could be in the
And look, and subscribe to the True Love Movement YouTube channel and watch the videos from there too.
Right on.